Hey everybody, it's Mickey Kaiser with War Room Relics with another Civil War video for you. This one covers the model 1860 Officer's Light Cavalry Saber. The 1840s, the wrist breakers as they were known by, were a little bit heavy for the average cavalryman, and the military approached several sword makers, in particular the Ames Manufacturing Company. They were the predominant sword makers during the Civil War period, and asked them to design a sword that was a little bit more manageable for the average cavalryman. And this is what they came up with. Its design is very similar to the 1840, but there are some differences. For instance, on the pommel itself, the 1840s have a swelled pommel. The 1860s, not so much. This one is a cavalry officer's sword. They're a little bit more ornate than your enlisted cavalrymen's. There's some chase work on the pommel cap, on the guard. You'll see on the branches, the little bit more elaborate than the plain branched guards for an enlisted man. You'll also notice that we've got a sword knot here. This wasn't just a decorative item for the swords. The cavalryman would actually wear this around his wrist. That way, if he was struck or whatever the case may be, where he lost his grip on his sword, he wouldn't lose it and drop it to the ground. It'd still be retained. It worked just like a lanyard does. But they made him a little decorative and ornate. This particular sword was sold by the Tomes, Son, and Melvane Company of New York City, New York. Now, what makes that a little bit unique is Tomes himself, Francis Tomes, was a purchasing agent for the United States government during the Civil War. He was abroad in England purchasing arms for the Union Army, and at the same time, he was also selling them his own wares out of his warehouses. Don't quote me on the prices. I don't try and memorize all that stuff. But the average price for a Civil War 1860 cavalry saber was like around $3. But Tom somehow managed to sneak his through the system for about $7. So he's probably one of the first actual cases of fraud, waste, and abuse in our government that still runs so rampant now. Guess Elon Musk should have been around back in the 1860s. He could have got his first catch right there. Anyway, the 1860 Cav Saber was accepted well by the cavalry. This one, if you'll notice, has what we call a stopped fuller. Sorry, I'm bouncing around here. First time I put the camera in this spot, so. But we have a stopped fuller. This area of the sword is referred to as the ricasso. Here you'll normally find a maker's mark, and if it was sold to the government, there would be a U.S. stamp and a government inspector's initials. Then on the opposite side, a lot of times you'll find the date of manufacture and the company that manufactured them. This sword here only has one stamp on it. I doubt if my camera will pick it up, but right down here by the ricasso, there's a little small T. That's the only thing that indicates that this was sold or manufactured, retailed by the Tomes firm. This one's got the standard full-length blade. It's not been sharpened. These weren't sold to the government, nor were they supposed to be sharpened. It's kind of like a soldier's unwritten agreement. These were actually used for combat, but they were not sharpened at the factory. This one has the original leather grip still intact. However, you'll notice that the wire strands that retain the grip tight to the wooden grip itself are missing from this one. It's a very nice example of a Civil War cavalry officer sword. The blade still has a little bit of the original bright polish to it. The guard is still tight to to the hilt, doesn't wobble around. The peen back here is undisturbed. Nobody's monkeyed with it. And it still comes with its original iron scabbard from the Civil War. Tomes, when you research this, if you go to John Tillman's Cavalry and Artillery Saber book, he goes into these in quite a bit of detail. Well, he does on almost all his swords in his books. Does a great job with them. But it states that in the book, on the Tome swords, the mounts should be about 8 3/4 inches apart, and these are exactly that. Got the iron suspension rings still on them. Drag still intact. It's just a real nice example of a Civil War period officer's cavalry saber. This one's listed on War Room Relics. Where else? And as always, if you guys got any questions, feel free to give me a call. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Thanks.